There is a USB drive that costs $4. $4. And what is on that drive, what you can put on that drive in under 10 minutes using a free tool on any computer you already own, is the complete, fully functional replacement for an operating system that Microsoft charges hundreds of dollars to license, pushes aggressive AI advertisements through, photographs everything you do with Windows Recall, and is now charging $30 per device per year just to keep secure after forcing millions of perfectly functional machines into end of life. $4. 10 minutes. And Windows is optional forever. This is not a tutorial for developers. This is not a guide for people who already know what a partition table is or what UEFI stands for. This is the complete, step-by-step reality of what it actually takes in 2025 to put Linux on a USB drive. Boot from it, try it without touching your existing system, and decide whether you want to install it permanently. And the answer to how hard it is, the honest, documented, verified answer, is that it is not hard at all. Not anymore. Not with the tools that exist right now. Here is what you need before you start. A USB drive with at least 8 GB of storage. You can use a 16 or 32 GB drive if that is what you have. Bigger is fine, smaller than 8 will not work. A computer with an internet connection, and approximately 45 minutes of your time, 35 of which you will spend doing nothing while files copy and install That is the entire prerequisite list. No technical background required. No Linux experience required. No command line knowledge required. The process that follows does not touch your Windows installation until you explicitly choose to replace it. You can try Linux completely, use it for days or weeks, and return to Windows at any time simply by removing the USB drive and restarting. The risk of trying is zero. Step 1 is choosing the right Linux distribution for a Windows user making this transition for the first time. The answer in 2025 is Linux Mint, not because it is the most powerful, not because it is the most customizable, because it is the most immediately familiar to someone who has spent their life on Windows. The taskbar is at the bottom. The Start menu opens in the bottom left. The File Manager works like Windows Explorer. Every visual decision Linux Mint has made is designed to minimize the distance between what you already know and what you need to learn. Download the Linux Mint ISO file from linuxmint.com. The file is approximately 2 GB. On a standard broadband connection, this takes between 5 and 15 minutes, depending on your speed. The download is free. There is no account required. There is no email address required. You download a file. That is it. Step 2 is writing that ISO file to your USB drive. The tool for this is called Balena Etcher, and it is also free. Download it from balena.io. Install it in under 2 minutes. Open it, select the Linux Mint ISO file you just downloaded. Select your USB drive. Click Flash Balena Etcher. Handles everything. It writes the file correctly, verifies the write, completed without errors, and tells you when it is done. The process takes between 5 and 15 minutes, depending on your USB drive's write speed. You do not need to format the drive first. You do not need to understand what an ISO file is. You click 3 buttons and wait. When Etcher finishes, your USB drive contains a complete, bootable Linux Mint installation. Remove it safely from your computer. Step 3 is booting from the USB drive. This is the step that used to require technical knowledge and now requires almost none. Restart your computer with the USB drive inserted. On most modern computers, pressing F12 during the startup screen opens a boot menu that lets you select which device to boot from. Select your USB drive. If F12 does not work on your machine, try F2, F10, or delete. Different manufacturers use different keys and a quick search for your specific computer model. Plus, boot menu key will tell you which one applies to you. Your computer will boot into Linux Mint. Not install it, boot into it. You will see a desktop environment that looks immediately familiar. Taskbar at the bottom. File Manager on the desktop. Browser icon visible. This is Linux Mint running entirely from your USB drive, touching nothing on your computer's internal storage. Your Windows installation is completely untouched. Use it. Open the browser. Connect to your Wi-Fi. Check your email. Watch a video. Open LibreOffice and create a document. Run it for an hour. Run it for a day. Run it for a week. The system is slightly slower running from USB than it will be once installed because USB drives are slower than internal storage. But the experience is representative enough to tell you everything you need to know about whether Linux Mint works for your use case. If you decide to install permanently, there is an icon on the desktop that says Install Linux Mint. Double-click it. The installer is a graphical wizard that asks you a small number of questions. Your language, your keyboard layout, your time zone, whether you want to install alongside Windows or replace it. Each screen has clear explanations. Each decision has a recommended default that is correct for most users. The installation takes approximately 20 minutes on modern hardware. When it completes, your computer restarts, removes the USB drive when prompted, and boots into your permanently installed Linux Mint system. Here is what is waiting for you on the other side of that installation. A fully functional operating system with no advertisements in the interface. No Copilot prompts, no Windows recall photographing your screen. No forced updates that restart your computer at inconvenient times. No telemetry running in the background reporting your usage to Microsoft. No subscription fees, no licensing costs. No end-of-life deadline forcing you onto new hardware you did not need. LibreOffice is pre-installed and handles Microsoft Office files. Firefox is pre-installed and works with every website Chrome works with. The Software Manager, Linux, Mint's equivalent of an app store, contains thousands of free applications covering every category of software most users need. Video players, image editors, music players, PDF readers, email clients, download managers, all of it free, all of it installable with one click, none of it requiring a subscription or an account. The gaming situation in 2025 is genuinely good. Install Steam from the Software Manager. Enable the Proton compatibility layer in Steam's settings, and your existing Steam library becomes accessible. Over 19,000 titles are verified or playable on Linux through Proton. Not indie games, the same AAA titles sitting in your Windows Steam library. They run. Most of them run well. Some of them run better than they did on Windows. The hardware compatibility situation that used to be the primary reason mainstream users could not make this transition has been resolved. Linux Mint's Driver Manager automatically detects your hardware and presents the recommended drivers in a graphical interface. Wi-Fi, graphics cards, printers, webcams, the vast majority of consumer hardware is supported out of the box or through the Driver Manager without touching a terminal. Here is the number that summarizes what you are leaving behind and what you are moving toward. The average Windows user will spend approximately $240 per year inside Microsoft's ecosystem across extended security updates, Microsoft 365 subscriptions, OneDrive storage upgrades, and the amortized cost of hardware upgrades forced by Windows 11's requirements. That figure grows every year as Microsoft adds subscription tiers and raises prices on existing ones. Linux Mint costs $0. LibreOffice costs $0. The entire open-source productivity stack that replaces every Microsoft application a typical household uses costs $0. Not a discounted price. Not a promotional rate. $0, forever. $4 for the USB drive. 10 minutes to create the bootable drive. 20 minutes to install. And the operating system that Microsoft has spent 30 years making you believe was the only option is sitting unused on a shelf while your computer runs faster, cleaner, and free of every commercial intrusion that Windows 11 has normalized over the past 3 years. The USB drive does not destroy Windows. Windows destroyed itself. The USB drive just gives you somewhere better to go. Download Linux Mint. Flash the drive. Try it today. Drop what happened below.